Boy, it's nice being here in front of this nice warm fire in this camp. In from the elements. It's pretty cold out there today. But you know, what happens if you're in the backwoods, in the backcountry, up in the mountains? Maybe your sled might break down. Maybe you are weathered in and you can't get off the mountain. I'm going to show you a few things that might just save your life. Now, the first thing you need to do, you need to get a fire started. You might be getting late in the day and you're going to have to keep warm at night. Now, no matter where you are, whether you're in the mountains of BC or you're in the lowlands of Eastern Canada or United States, there's always fire starting material available. Now, in Eastern Canada, we have an abundance of things to start a fire, and I'm going to show you exactly what we can use. Now, one of your greatest allies here for starting a fire is this birch bark. This stuff is so dry, it's nature's newspaper. Collect some of this up. Now, when I'm starting a fire in the bush, I always do it the same way. I plan on doing it once. I got to get it right the first time. I might not have a second chance. Get my birch bark. Now, these leaves are nice and dry. Now, in the mountains, you're not going to get these leaves for the most part. You're going to be dealing with evergreens. But today, I'm going to grab these. Now, this is a cedar tree. The cedar bark here, it's just going to burn very well when we start. When your fire starts off initially with your birch bark and your shavings here, you're going to want to keep it going. You got to start with these little small branches. The smaller the better to start. And these are off a cedar tree. Now, these are very, very dry. And they have that old resin in there, and they're going to light up very nicely. Well, as the fire starts, we need to add bigger wood progressively. That's what this is going to be right here. Then once it really starts, we need the big stuff. Since you know you're going to be overnight, you got to get some big wood as well. You got to get the big stuff nice and dry. This here is cedar. I'm going to look for some pine. I got to have enough to last me the night. I have to keep warm. So if you're in the mountains, you might not have access to the birch bark and to the leaves, but you do have access to evergreens. And the lower you go in the evergreen, the drier, the tinder you're going to get. And you know what? This stuff is very flammable. It has a lot of resin in it. Now, depending on how deep the snow is, you might have to go down really far into that tree to get what you need, but you have to do it. You got to get your fire started. Okay. Now, I have everything laid out in front of me, ready to go. Once I get this started up, I'm going to feed in a little bit more of this birch bark. Then I'm going to start with these smaller branches, and as it starts to roll, I'm going to move into the bigger branches until I get to the big stuff that's really going to keep me warm. What I carry in my backpack is this SOL survival kit. It has all kinds of little tricks in here that are going to help you get through the night and help you survive. It's got the fire starter, and it's got the little flint that you're going to need to get this fire going. Like I said, I got to make this work right the first time. I'm just going to get my little branches on here, my little twigs. They're going to make that happen. Now, I could make the fancy little teepees and little triangular pattern things, but you know what? The sun's going to go down soon, and I want to get this thing made. There we go. I'm moving to my bigger sticks. These will really keep it going. You know, you don't need to make a massive fire to stay alive. If you make one too big, you're just going to have to keep fueling it all night. That's going to take up too much energy. And you're going to be searching all over for wood. Now I'm starting to build it up. Got my little chimney effect going there. I'm a firefighter, I can say chimney effect. I learned a long time ago, you never start a fire under an evergreen in the winter. Now there's a reason for that, because when that heat rises, it's going to start to melt snow. That snow is going to fall on you. Never made that mistake again. It'll eventually put your fire out. Then what do? I've got this fire going pretty well, so I'm going to want to start adding bigger wood. Once you get the bigger wood on, you might not be able to break it. Don't try busting it up with your foot or your hands, hitting against trees. You could have a problem, you might injure yourself. Just break off several pieces, what you can, and start to feed it in. Another way to break some wood, just put it between the crotch of two trees, snap it just like that. I'm set up right beside this old down tree. I can just go along here, break off branches, parts of it whenever I need to add more fuel to this fire. I'm making myself a nice little place to sit, so I'm not sitting directly on the snow. That way I've got a little bit of insulation between my butt and the cold snow. Now whether I'm backcountry riding or riding in the mountains, I always carry this kit with me. I carry the SOL Thermal Bivvy, the Ultralight Medical Kit, and the Sport Utility Blanket, as well as this little rescue whistle here. This little whistle might be just the thing that saves your life. It might just alert somebody where you are, and they're going to come and get you. Now this little thermal bivvy here, this is what you're going to crawl into at night, and you're going to cover yourself over with snow. This is going to keep you alive. It's not going to be like the Hilton, but it is going to keep you warm. This Sport Utility Blanket has a reflective surface on it. This is going to reflect the heat off the fire onto you. You can wrap yourself with it at night. It's going to keep the warmth in. You can use it as a shelter to keep the rain off your head. You can tie it up and use it as a windbreak to keep the wind off you. You can also make a stretcher out of this if you use 2 poles and wrap these around it. The medical kit goes without saying. You got to have something in your pack. If you cut yourself, you don't want to get an infection. You want to make sure that you're looking after yourself. This is ultralight, just as it says, and it doesn't take up very much room at all. When you want to buy any of this life-saving equipment, make sure you give firstplaceparts.com a call. Tell them Louis from PowerModz sent you. Check us both out on Facebook, and don't forget to subscribe for more tips and tricks and reviews. Thanks for watching PowerModz. I'm Louis Skibo.